Welcome. I hope you are comfortable. I'm going to recommend a few little props and bits throughout the practice. So if you have them, cool. If you don't worry about it. They're mainly just to get you a little bit more comfortable if need be. So today we are just going to be, I'll give you a quick rundown. We're going to work a lot on this area here, so the navel, or the solar plexus, or the Manipura chakra, as it's known sort of in historical yoga reference terms, which is just the area just above the belly button here. And as I mentioned in the email to you, it's said to sort of provoke feelings of empowerment or confidence or energy. And if anything I could do with right now, it's a little bit more energy would be lovely. Also, quite obviously, working this area here, increasing a bit of blood flow, really, really good for digestion. So if you, like me, ate loads of food over the weekend, then let's get some digestion going on in here. Get a little bit of warmth and heat in there. Also, core muscles, working on those. Really good to work on those just because they sort of, it's the center of everything, isn't it? So a little bit of core strength, not six-pack abs or whatever, but a little bit of core strength, really nice, just holds everything together. So if anyone downloaded the playlist, I'm going to recommend pressing play right now. And if you've got cushions with you, so we're going to come into a comfortable cross-legged seat to start with. I have got a couple of cushions just to make me a little bit more comfy. I like to pop them under my knees. If you're comfy sitting cross-legged, cool. I am too, but there is a little bit more comfort here. If you squish these guys in, it just means you can focus on a different part of the body rather than focusing on holding your knees up. So wherever we are, I'm going to press play now a little bit later than everybody else, so that we know where we are. And then wherever you are this evening, so palms today, rather than resting on the knees like we usually do, we're just going to bring them to the belly. So resting on this belly, on this chakra, this solar plexus here. So the space just above the belly button. And then wherever you are, perhaps closing the eyes or lowering the gaze. And bring your awareness just to this space that you are in this evening, so the space surrounding you right now. Allow yourself to become familiar with the sense of being in this space, of being in this space, in this time. And then bringing that awareness, almost letting it sink in from the room, through the skin, into the body. So taking those thoughts to the space within the body. Just letting the mind just graze over the whole body. Just checking in with everything that's going on in there. And then beginning to focus that awareness on this space just above our belly button. So the space where perhaps you might find a little bit of warmth is created underneath the palms of the hands. And allowing a rest through the body while we do this. So this warmth, this focus on the center just above the belly button. Almost a sense of energy building here, but allow the body around it to release. So allow softness in the shoulders, softness in the hips. And softness throughout the face, so loosening through the jaw, loosening across the forehead. And bringing the awareness to the breath in the body. I'm not making any judgment about the breath today, so if your breath is short and sharp, just accepting it as it is, being thankful that it's there. If you have long, slow, smooth breaths, appreciating those this afternoon. And then I'm just going to ask you to direct the breath into the belly for a few breaths. So if, like me, you naturally breathe into the chest area, or this area sort of between the chest and the belly. See if we can direct that breath deep into the belly. So breathing in and noticing the hands perhaps rise slightly. And then exhaling fully, noticing a fall of the hands. Take a few more of these nurturing, guided belly breaths. Just being grateful that they are there to hold us through the practice. And allowing the breath to softly make its way back to whatever is natural and comfortable for you. The breath that will carry you through your practice. And then blinking open the eyes. Bringing the awareness back to the space around us again. Maybe taking a little look around with the eyes. We're probably familiar with this space, but just looking at it with fresh eyes once more. Really understanding the space above us, either side of us. And then releasing the hands. We're going to come straight into some sort of heating up the belly exercises. There are a few options, so you can take them sort of as softly or as sort of throw yourself in as you want. So if you've got cushions, gently discard them to the side or just lob them across the room wherever you can find space. I'm going to spin round just to show you what we're doing, but if you are facing the top of your mat, there is where you want to be. So facing the top of our mat, bringing the legs out in front of us and then placing the soles of the feet flat on the floor with bent legs here. So your legs want to be about hip width apart here. And then we're bringing the palms to the ground just behind us, fingertips placing so that they're facing the front of the mat. There's a tendency to have the fingertips so they point out to the side. I'm going to ask you today just to point the fingers so that they're facing the front of the mat, so that there's this opening through the wrist that you wouldn't normally get every day. It's just a little extra something that you can open out through the practice. Elbows are shooting towards the back of the room and hopefully encouraging an opening through the chest here. So shoulder blades coming together and down the spine. Well, there's lovely space in the front body and you are aiming for almost a 90-degree angle between the thighs and the chest. Coming into this position, you might already have noticed that the core is beginning to heat up a little bit. There's a little bit of strength there. You're not just supporting yourself with your arms. There's a bit of strength to hold you nice and firm. Same with the thighs. Holding the body in this position. And keeping the right leg grounded. So right foot staying on the floor to begin with. We're just going to bring the left leg up, pointing the toes. Bringing it up so that lower leg is parallel with the earth. You might notice a little bit of fire, a little bit of heat in the top of that thigh. And then bringing that leg out, so we're opening through the hips slightly and just tapping that toe to the earth, just outside of the yoga mat. Very slowly bringing it all the way back in where it came from and down again to the mat. Lovely, positioning it on the mat. Opposite side, so right toes this time pointing, lifting off the mat to the point where the lower leg is about parallel with the earth. And then opening through that hip, right toes just tapping the mat or just off to the side of the mat, depending how open you are in the hips this evening. And then slowly making its way all the way back. We're going to take a couple more of these. Left leg now. I know it is tempting to do this quickly, but when you do it slowly, controlled movements, we really are working into those muscles. Opening up through that hip, tapping that toe, just gently grazing the earth next to you. And working it all the way back again onto the mat. Second side, last time, right toes pointing out in front. Get your leg to the point that lower leg is parallel to the earth. And then pointing those toes, opening through the hips, just tapping the ground outside. Hopefully a little bit of warmth through the core and the thighs now. Coming back, replacing back to center. Bring it all in, give yourself a lovely big hug. Release through the spine. Allow a couple of deep breaths in the back body, so opening through the back body here. Releasing through the neck. Give yourself a little bit of a thanks, because that's quite a fiery way to start a class. And then when we're ready, coming back to where we were. Actually, I'm getting quite warm already. Take my socks off. So coming back to where we were, so soles of the feet flat on the earth, that 90-degree angle again. This time though, you've got a couple of options here. You've always got the option, if it's too much, just to come back and hug in the knees. If that is what you need today, it's a really comforting place to be. And we're still working on this central area, but just in a different way. It's a nurturing and safe space rather than a fiery strength space. So seeing where you need to be today, but if you're joining me, soles of the feet flat on the earth, 90-degree angle again between the chest and the top of the thighs, but this time, palms are coming together in prayer at heart center. You might find this is enough for you today. There's a lot going on in here, there's a lot going on in the thighs. See if you're sitting quite upright, see if you can edge back a little, but we're still opening through the chest. So if you find you're edging back and arching the back, ease off a little. Wherever you find yourself comfortable, we're either going to hold here for a few breaths, or we're going to work the fingers, keeping the palms together, and we're going to bring it into the waist, twisting down, tapping fingertips to the left side, and back to center, and right side, and back to center, left side, and back to center, really feeling the strength in the waist here, and right side. And back to center, perfect. Coming back up again, hugging those knees. Feeling any warmth in the waist. Feeling a nice twisting, opening out through the sides of the waist after coming through those positions. Again, breathing into the back body here, so give yourself some space in the back of the body. Lovely. And then we're going to come into a little squat. So bringing the body forward in whatever way is best for you. And coming into our squat, keeping the knees together to start with. And while we're here, just take a pedal out through the feet. And if you find you really hunch when you're squatting, see if you can come up onto the fingers and open out a little bit through the chest. So we are really trying to open up today rather than come into this hunched, squished position. Get a little bit of empowerment going on from the front body opening. Pedaling out through the feet. And we're going to come into our forward fold or Uttanasana. So feet are coming about hip width apart now. So just shuffle the feet so they're about hip width apart rather than if they've made their way together. And then we're pushing the soles of the feet to the earth, bottom shooting up to the sky, standing forward fold. So head is staying low, bottom shooting up and keeping a nice bend in the knees here. So allowing the chest to fall towards the thighs, rather than trying to get a straight leg and then squeezing this upper body in. Here we're really going for the length in the spine rather than along the backs of the legs today. So allowing that chest to fall heavy, allowing the palms to release onto the earth. Maybe giving it a little shake or a nod of the head. You might want to bounce it, or I find I just make a really tiny bit of movement wherever I am. Just in life in general, as you all know. So I don't always feel like things have to be really like one stable movement. You can move wherever you want to. And then if you've got a book here or a brick, you don't need one, but I'm going to suggest you have one. And just pop it in front of your face on the mat so you've got that to work with. Just move this out of the way. So we've got this, our little brick or our book, whatever one you've got just here. And we're making our way into a flat back now. So bending in the knees still, strong in the thighs. You're bringing the hands to the hip. And we're just coming up, starting to straighten through the legs. They're not coming to full straightness. Is that a word? I don't know. But wherever we are, we're trying to keep this length in the spine. So you're engaging the core muscles. There's one long line from the top of the head to the tailbone. And when we make it here, we're just bringing our block so that we can rest our fingertips on it. If you don't have a block, I recommend popping the hands on the thighs and then tucking in the elbows. That can also sort of help keep this length in the spine. Wherever we are, tucking that chin in slightly, just to encourage the length in the back of the neck. You're looking at the ground just in front of you. Breathing here. Breathing in the sides of the body, noticing every bit of you that is engaged right now. Everything is really switched on. And then usually, we might sort of come between this flat back position and a forward fold. But today we're going to work between keeping this flat back and lowering and raising. So it's working into the thighs quite a lot, but also working into getting some heat in the middle body here. So you can use your block for a little bit of stability if you've got it, or you can keep the hands on the sides. This is probably a little bit harder, so be easy on yourself. But keeping that length, we're just gonna lower ourselves down and bring ourselves back a few times. Being very conscious this whole time to keep this engagement in the waist. If as soon as we lose that in the waist, we sort of flop down. If you keep everything turned on in here, I almost feel like a crane going up and down in a storeroom when I do this actually. But we're just working between those two, bringing some heat into the thighs, bringing some heat into the waist, working up a little bit of power. And then when you are next bent down, allowing yourself to release back into that forward fold again. Releasing palms down to the earth, bending through the knees. If this is a bit much, bend and straighten the legs. And now we're making our way all the way up. So hands on the fronts of the ankles, and then we're uncurling. So imagine a fern uncurling in some beautiful forest somewhere. We're uncurling. I give you imagery like that, because I'm sure that a lot of us haven't seen anything like that for a while. Opening all the way up. Neck opens last, making our way to Tadasana. Standing here for a moment, grounding through the feet. And just allowing ourselves a moment to recognize this new space that we have created for ourselves. So I like to take a second just to settle myself when I go from one level to another. Bring your awareness to the room from this new angle, from this new perspective. And then we're stepping out. So we're coming into a wide-legged stance, facing the side of our mat ideally. So if you can face the side of the mat, whatever space you're in, coming into a wide leg. So we're not going full wide, we're just going slightly wider than we normally would do perhaps. So a softness in the knees. And at the moment the toes are pointing towards the long edge of the mat actually. We'll keep them there for today. And then a softness in the knees, bringing the hands to the hips. And then keeping this length in the waist, all this strength and stability going on in the middle area of the body here. Really focusing on this area just above the navel to hold you lovely and tall and steady. Keeping the left hand on the hip, the right arm is going up and over, all the space in the side body. Fingertips are reaching towards the top corner of the opposite side of the room. Breathing into that length. Breathing into the space and then releasing, arm down, coming back, hand on the hip, opposite side. Left arm goes up and over, fingertips reaching towards that top upper corner of the opposite side of the room. A lot of words there that I'm not sure are meant to be there. Reaching up, again the whole time, this warmth, this stability from the core here. And releasing. We're going to work through this a few more times, so feel free to just make your way very slowly, one side to the other. Or you can make this a slightly more fluid movement, bringing the knees in. So I'm going to start the whole time focusing on this area in the middle here to keep us steady. No one can see you. You're so small on my screen, I can't see you. So have a play around here. Just working through. And wherever we are, just being acutely aware of the strength and that fire in the center, in the core of the body. When you've done your second side, coming back to center, bringing the legs straight if they were bending, hands on the hips. And then we're walking the feet out. So the feet are now coming, so there's about a leg's length between the feet. Toes pointing out to the corners of the mat rather than straight forwards now. Toes pointing out to the corners, coming into our goddess pose. So we're bending at the knees here, dropping the hips down. So center of gravity is right down the middle of the body. Knees are aiming towards the toes. So we're pointing those knees so that they're aiming towards that middle toe. So we're opening through the hips. If you find that your knees are knocking in, bring your feet in a little closer together. Wherever we are. Maybe taking a bounce here. See, I just bounce around, I can't help it. And then we're clasping the fingers together behind the back. So interlacing the fingers, I'll show you from the side. Interlacing the fingers together, hopefully opening or encouraging an opening again through the chest, and then pulling those fingers, hands away from the body, so towards the earth, opening through the chest, opening through the whole front of the body. Breathing into the front body. And then on an inhale, releasing, coming up to standing. Giving it a shake out. It's quite a strong one today. Sorry, I think maybe I needed it, so I've just sort of forced it onto all of you. Coming back to wide leg again, but this time toes pointing towards the side of the mat. So toes not out anymore, toes pointing towards the long edge of the mat. And grab your brick or your book if you have it, placing it in front of us on the earth. Bringing the hands to the hips here, and then keeping a softness in the knees. So you want to feel like if someone tapped your knee, it would just bend. You're not locking into the knees. Hands on the hips, and remembering that flat back that we were playing with a minute ago, we're coming back there. So hinging forward, so rather than curling, arching the spine, we're keeping this length from the tailbone all the way up to the top of the head. Again, I will do this from the side. It's probably easier for you to see where I'm going with this. So standing with a wide-legged stance, hands on the hips, softness in the knees, and then hinging forwards, keeping that nice long line from the tail all the way to the top of the head. And coming to the point where we feel that our chest is parallel with the earth again. Maybe recognizing that same strength in the core here in the center. And then we've got our book or our brick in front of us, bringing our hands to it, just to give us a little bit of stability, just to give us a nice, I guess, sort of a little safe space to come to almost. Engaging the core. Breathing into that length we're creating in the spine. And then very slowly, seeing if we can just discard the book or the block. And we're coming now into our forward fold. So allowing the spine to arch or curve, allowing a release forwards, bending slightly further, deeper into the knees, and releasing into this forward fold here. So chest is coming towards, I guess it's sort of towards the thighs, or as though it's coming between the legs. And releasing, maybe giving the head a little nod or a little shake. I'm just going to hop round so I'm the same way as you guys. And then if you came the same way as me, so if you're facing the left side of your mat, we're obviously do this the other way around, feel the other way around. We're creeping our hands towards the right or the top of our mat. And then swiveling on the feet, so we're coming into a low lunge at the top of our mat here. Grounding through the palms, and then stepping that foot back. We are coming into a plank. If this is too much for you, you can go straight down onto the knees. Otherwise, join me here, stepping out in our plank. If you can see yourself of a reasonable size in this video, do check out whether your bum is up in the air here too, or whether you're slumping down here, and try and bring yourself to this nice central point where you've got a lovely long line. Engaging the core. Enjoying the length in the sides of the body. One more breath here. As we exhale, dropping the knees, untucking the toes, coming back in to our child's pose, so bottom back down towards the heels, keeping the length in the arms and the armpits as we release the arms out long in front, spreading through the fingers, chest dropping towards the thigh and forehead down to the earth. Breathing here. Breathing into the back of the body. Breathing into the space down the sides of the waist. And then on an inhale, creeping the hands up towards the body. Coming to seated. So I'm going to get you prepped for, we're going to grab a couple of things. actually ready for when we next, because we're coming down onto our back, so we might as well stay there. If you've got a blanket, so grab your brick or your book, keep that handy. If you've got a blanket, I'm going to recommend that you take the time just now to roll it up into a little sausage. So it's probably about 10 centimeters, 10 to 15 centimeters diameter-ish. You see my sausage, my blanket sausage? So if you've got a blanket, I recommend making a little sausage roll right now and keeping it nearby. If not, you'll be fine without it, don't worry. I'm just going to check where we are, guys. Check where we are with what we're doing. Perfect. Okay, so bringing ourselves back down onto our backs. Coming on the mats, knees are bent here, so soles of the feet flat on the earth. Make sure you've got your block to hand. And then releasing down onto your back. When we've made it down here, just creeping the feet. I mean, if you put the arms down on the mat, creeping the feet towards the bottom, to the point where you can touch the backs of the feet with the fingertips. That's where you want your legs to be. Okay, and then if you've got a block or a book, we're placing it in between the thighs now, so squeezing it in the thighs. If you haven't got one, don't worry, just make sure that through these movements, you're really making a conscious effort to sort of engage in the thighs and keep them strong. And then we're going to roll up and down, making our way through bridge pose. So rolling the spine up and down just a few times, just in your own time really. And so we'll begin all together. So lifting tailbone off of the earth, lifting the lower back, mid back, upper back, pushing the hips up towards the sky, squeezing through the thighs but not squeezing through the glutes here. So if you find you're really squeezing your bum muscles here, try and release them. This wants to be in the thighs and the waist. When we've made our way up there, holding for a second, and then rolling all the way down, upper back, mid back, lower back. And then again, we're just rocking between the two. So almost waving the spine, snaking the spine up and down, very consciously working through the vertebrae one at a time, lifting them away from the earth and dropping them down. If you've got your block or your book between the thighs, keeping that little bit of heat in the thighs, that strength. Keeps both sides of the body quite even as well, having something to squeeze. And working through maybe one more of these, rolling all the way up and releasing all the way down. Perfect. When you've made it down, taking the block out from between the thighs. And then this is the point where you've got a few options here. So a little thing has just come up on my screen. I'm just going to check. Okay, we've got time. So you've got some options here. So we're going to come into a nice little Shavasana. I'm going to leave you there so you can stay there as long as you like after the practice. But you've got options. So you can either come into a classic Shavasana or relaxation. So laying flat on the back, arms by the sides, legs out long or knees bent, wherever you want to be. If you've got your blanket rolled up though, what I am going to recommend that you do is just grab your little sausage roll and put it at the space behind your waist. So prop it behind us, space behind the waist. And then as we lean back, rolling onto it, so it should hopefully fit somewhere quite nicely. You should come to a point where you go, that is the spot, I want that blanket. We're going to release back onto the blanket. So it's opening up through the abdomen. So it's creating this opening in the front of the body, a tiny, tiny back bend, and opening up. So really making the most of all this space we've created in this area here. Also, when you've been doing a bit of core work, it's really nice just to open out through that same area afterwards. If you're here, you can either have the hands on the belly if that feels nurturing, or if you don't feel too vulnerable in this position. Sometimes I find I get into it and I just feel a little bit like too open. But I'm going to go for it today. I'm going to bring my arms up above my head, so palms towards the sky, opening through the armpits, space down the sides of the body. I'm going to keep my legs bent here today, but you can walk yours out long if you wish. And wherever you are in your relaxation, allowing the body to become heavy. Again, bringing the awareness back to the breath in the body. Recognizing the rise and fall of the belly. Welcoming the space in the front of the body. As we inhale and allowing the body to sink, to release on every exhale. Seeing if we can begin to slow the breathing. And I'm just going to offer for you to join me in doing a couple of rounds of counted breaths. So I'll count in for 4 and out for 4. So we'll inhale for 4, exhale for 4. So exhaling all of the air out of the lungs. And we inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Allow the body to come back to its natural breath rhythm. And allow full release of the body here. I'm going to finish the practice with you guys today in a second. You are welcome to stay here for as long as time allows. And those of you that are staying here, please continue to stay here. Make yourselves comfortable, or just hold your space where it already is. Anyone finishing with me, I'm just going to roll over to the side, make my way up. Coming back to that comfortable seat. Coming back to the space in which we started. Palms together at heart center. Taking a couple of sighs. Deep exhales. Forehead dropping down, chin to chest. And here we release the practice. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. It was lovely for you to join me. Stay where you are if you are comfortable and still laying down. If not, please accept my big kisses. And hopefully I'll see you all soon. Have lovely weeks, and we'll be here.